All right, so our first speaker is Dena Farash, and I've known her for years personally, like in person, in real life. She is the founder of Dena Does Digital, and so it's a marketing agency that helps women-owned businesses master engagement so that they can grow online. And she really specializes in helping really simplify your strategy so that you can focus really on what you love to do and still make money. Isn't that what we all want? Okay, so Dena, I'm going to go ahead and spotlight you. And the mic is yours.
Well, Tara, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me. I am excited to be here and share with all of you ladies who have attended. As Tara said, my name is Dena Farash. I run an agency called Dena Does Digital, where I do website design, lead magnet, content copywriting for coaches, consultants, and therapists. So if it's okay with you, I think I have share access. Can you see my screen? Yes. Okay.
Yes,
So
and I'll make you a full screen.
can you see my
So
screen?
Dean, we can see your
I
screen. Yep.
also lost I also lost power. So I'm doing this. I'm excited so excited to be here. God always throws interesting wrenches in our plans, but I had I'm just going to share it this way since it's not going into present mode and we'll be okay with it. Right? Can you see?
Yep, we can see it.
Can Is it presenting at full screen?
It's not presenting it good full screen. That it's not doing, but it is showing your first slide. This is master messaging.
Yeah. I am going to log back in and see what we can do. So as I'm taking up my time, I'll just share a little bit about y'all with myself. I am a mom first and foremost. I started in the digital space really on accident. I created a Facebook group that was really set up to help me stop losing my mind as a mom all the time. It was about the importance of mindfulness and meditation for moms really on accident. I've been in the digital space for about 10 years. I grew that group to over 3,000 members at its height. And I was able to then sell out in person workshops, have courses online, all of the things that we try to do as digital entrepreneurs. And I really did it out of a need of necessity. I created this group because I wanted accountability. I wanted to be able to have other connections with other women that were in the thick of parenting with me. And really, my business kind of spiraled from there. I'm a big believer that what God orders, He pays for, and so I've had to, like many of us, go through many different iterations of who I was and how I helped people online. So COVID was a game changer for many of us, especially parents with young kids. At the time, for me, we pulled our kids from school, we homeschooled our kids, and I went offline for a little bit, and I started doing behind the scenes work for other people that I had networked with and connected with in the digital space. So I was able, really fortunately, to share for just a second. I was able, very fortunately, to use the people that I had utilize the relationships I had made and do all of this behind scenes work for them. I was able to do copywriting and website design. And that's really what created Dena Does Digital, which is what I have the privilege of doing so many helpers and healers and service providers now, which is taking the skills I learned on accident, which was making that emotional connection with people online, and now being able to do it for so many people. So if you're just joining, welcome. Unfortunately, I'm in the midst of a power outage, but I still want to share my expertise with you. What I love more than anything else is messaging, right? And so I see messaging and even website design, sales page design as a three-part sandwich, right? And the most important parts are the bread, the first part and the third part. I'm going to try and share my screen one more time so I can show you all my slides. We'll see, my internet is just taking forever. If not, this is my favorite topic, and I know my time is dwindling, so I'm just going to go right into it. So the most important thing that we can do in the online space is make an emotional connection. And in today's world, we have less than 2 seconds to do that because of our phones, our devices. We all have attention spans of goldfish at best, right? And so when it comes to your messaging, your first sentence, and I'm talking whether it's social media, your website, your lead magnet, whatever it may be, but you have one sentence at best to convince people to continue to read on. Does that make sense? Maybe a hands up if you've experienced that or if you've heard that before. I'm so excited to share this information with you, but I promise you, if you're especially in the digital space, this is not something you haven't heard before. Let me try and share my screen actually so I can go back to my slides. So the first and most important thing that we need to do in the online space is create a strong hook. I'm not even going to try and present. What we're going to talk about in the next 3 minutes now is this 3 steps framework. I'm just going to kind of go right into it with y'all. So thank you for bearing with me. You can see my screen? Yeah. Okay. So we have a simple 3-step framework, which again, if you've been in the digital space, I'm sure you've heard this before. This is coined directly from Russell Brunson, who is the CEO of ClickFunnels, if you're familiar with that. But we talk, the most important thing that you can do is make the emotional connection with people. And I want to share an example from my own real life with you because I was just driving on a street by my house the other day and there was a car for sale in somebody's lawn. And this was so genius. There was a big sign on the car that said, "Take me home for Christmas," and then the phone number, right? And right away, what that did, it wasn't just a sign sitting on somebody's lawn and like $6,000 or best offer. It made an emotional connection. Because as I'm driving, and I don't even need a new car, I'm thinking, wow, who can this be a gift for, right? And so it was so genius, but it made that emotional connection. It was timely. And what this person did was really create an opportunity for other people to think about, how can I gift this or who needs this? And just tying Christmas into it was so genius. So I started talking a little bit about hooks, right? And this is this is arguably the most important part, but really the third part is also just as important. There are so many different types of hooks that are necessary, and we can interchange them so that we make content fresh and we have a wonderful emotional connection with people. So if my PowerPoint was working, if my Canva was working, it would all flow nicely. We're just going to deal with it. So I would just want to share some types of hooks and examples that are absolutely necessary for you all. So the first is a curiosity hook. When I was building myself up online, and by the way, I'm not on social media at all anymore because I've put my time in, but when I was building myself up online, this was one of my favorite hooks to use because it gets people wanting to know more, right? So an example of that, this is, I haven't done this in 20 years, or this is one of the things that 97% of people get wrong in parenting, whatever it may be, but it spurs the interest and people want to read more. I'm a share my dirty laundry type of poster, right? I always believe that like we got to share the good stuff. So I might share something like, did I ever tell you about the time 20 years ago that I got in trouble or that I got arrested? Because now all of a sudden people want to learn more. And there's a really masterful way to use a curiosity hook and still come across as a subject matter expert. Pain point hooks meet people exactly where they are emotionally. Something like, do you ever get so nervous when your power gets out and you have to do a PowerPoint presentation and come off the cuff, right? Something like exactly what I'm going through right now. But you want to know your target audience, obviously, and create hooks that relate to where they are. Controversial hooks, my favorite. These are also some of my favorites. So in the digital space, I believe that you should be controversial, but you shouldn't be hurting people's feelings, right? And so there's a very intricate way to do this. I love an unpopular opinion post or even posting that on your website. I think all of that is phenomenal. Visions paint the picture of the desire, the transformation. All of that is equally as important. And then myth busting hooks, which also just say like, hey, 97% of people aren't going to tell you this, or this is what everybody gets wrong in parenting. It's totally worth it to utilize hooks like this. Second part of content that engages is the story. And this is where you know that you understand where they are emotionally. And again, this isn't just for social media. The story actually just pre-qualifies the person and lets them know that you are the right subject matter expert for them. And I'll show you a quick example if my internet tells me right now, because a lot of this applies to social media. But it can also apply to websites. No, my internet's not gonna let me do that. So the story is pre-qualifying people emotionally. It lets people know where that you understand them. So this is a website I created for a client. If it will load. Okay, and you'll see, and the reason why I'm showing you this is because I want you to see that it's not just social media. So the opening hook is OCD and anxiety have been holding you hostage. Let's break you out. Now, I'm not somebody who is OCD, but if I did, and according to my client, his clients feel this way all the time. But this is really what I want to show you, this story. right? This is where we pre-qualify people and we say like your thoughts get loud. It's not just anxiety. You're managing more than anyone knows. You're wondering if this is it, right? You are not broken, you are not weak. OCD lies, but we can disarm it. So it's a story without being a personal story, right? But it's another essential part of your messaging. And then the third and arguably just as important part of the hook, it's absolutely necessary, is the call to action, right? If you don't tell people what to do in the online space, do you know what they're going to do? Nothing. And people wonder all the time, why didn't people message me? Why didn't people opt in? Why didn't people book a sales call with me, right? And it's most likely because you haven't told them to do that. Right. So again, if we're going to look at messaging as a three-part sandwich, the hook, the story, the offer, the hook brings people in. You have less than 2 seconds to get them to be interested, to read more. The story is where you continue to say, hey, by the way, I know exactly what you're going through. But that call to action is where you lead the horse to water and help them drink.
All right. So Dena, we do
That must
want
be
you. I
my
know you
time is
have an
up.
offer. Yeah, I do. First
Yes.
of all, I'd love for you guys in the chat, put one thing that you learned from Dena. And Dena, in 2 seconds, tell us what is an offer, how can people connect with you?
An offer from me. So you can connect with me by going to my website, denadoesdigital.com, which I will put in the chat as well. And I have a really exceptional offer for everybody here, which is an ultimate ultimate engagement blueprint bundle. It's only $7, and you can find that in my second link right here. But it comes with, I believe, 52 hooks, 25 calls to action, so that you can make creating content an ease for yourself. I'm so grateful for the opportunity. Thank you all so much for dealing with me
Yeah.
in the midst of my power struggles.
Well, thank you for showing up, even
Just
because how
another
many of you guys
day.
know that's so hard when you're like prepared and then you have this anxiety of like, I can't get on. I love this. When people saying, I love this framework. I learned that you must do a call to action or people will do nothing. You need to get a good hook to get them hooked. I love that. That's a great phrase. So thank you so much, Dena. And Dena is a member of Hey Girl You Can. And so what's really great is when we've had our co-working sessions together, or even when we've done our Q&As and people have had questions, she's been popping in, sharing her expertise. Like, this is one of the things I love about our community is she's like, hey, this will help you and this will support you. And I've actually hired her to do some of my own copywriting for some stuff that I've done. So great person to have in your corner and be connected to. All right, our next speaker is going to be Tanya, who's also a Hey Girl You Can member. She is otherwise known as Miss Connect Global. And oh wait, no, Tanya, I have to stop recording and let me do this. Stop recording.